Bangladesh, after gaining independence from Pakistan, was a shining example of hope and progress, now seems to be slipping back into the very state it escaped. The country, which flourished under secular values and inclusivity, is slowly starting to resemble Pakistan, a nation it fought hard to leave behind. Just like Pakistan, which thrives on religious extremism, violence, and blasphemy accusations, Bangladesh is now treading a similar path, with the rise of religious extremism and political turmoil. The secular principles that once made Bangladesh strong seem to be eroding, and the country now risks falling into the same struggles and divisions that have plagued Pakistan for decades. It's heartbreaking to see a nation that once stood so proudly for progress, now veering towards a path that could undo all the progress it has made. 76 years ago, Bangladesh and Pakistan were one country, and 52 years ago, Bangladesh gained independence. And today, the difference in their development is striking, with Bangladesh making advancements in many areas over the decades, while Pakistan remains stuck in its own chaos. After losing several wars with India, including the one that led to the creation of Bangladesh, Pakistan didn't give up. In fact, it channeled its energy into fueling the terrorist industry, funding extremism, and building up its weapons industry. It's a dictatorship, with less brutal than Afghanistan's current regime, and has seen some urban growth, but it still maintains oppressive practices, which are cultural fabric of both Pakistan and Afghanistan, like hiding women away, widespread cousin marriages, severe gender imbalances, and disturbing levels of child abuse. Over the years, Pakistan has done a great job of ignoring economic growth and the progress of its society. And it's been so good at this, that it landed itself in all sorts of economic messes, like high inflation, a sinking currency, you name it. At this rate, it might even manage to downgrade itself to a low-income country. So the difference between these two countries and more developed nation like India is glaring. Life in India, as shown by its GDP per capita, is far better. Pakistan's exporting terrorism, while Bangladesh, after escaping Pakistan's genocidal grip, has been fighting Islamist forces and balancing progress with political turmoil. The gap is obvious in the economy, education, and basic services. Also, there's a significant difference in quality and status between them. Former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina took significant steps to combat religious extremism, including crackdowns on extremist groups. Despite these efforts, Bangladesh continues to face increased threats from such dangers. Groups like Jamaat-e-Islami and other religion-based fundamentalist organizations have been instrumental in radicalizing youth, both in Bangladesh and abroad. Moreover, various Middle Eastern countries have been involved in financing these radical elements and organizations, further threatening the country's secularism. Despite these extremists trying to terrorize religious minorities and launch attacks, Bangladesh has stayed officially secular. It's a hybrid regime, teetering between democracy and dictatorship. But even with all its struggles, Bangladesh is still miles ahead of Pakistan and Afghanistan in every aspect. Bangladesh has made remarkable economic progress, moving from a low-income to a lower middle-income country. Its economy is growing rapidly, with a budget of $71 billion and a growth rate of 7.5%, while Pakistan's growth is just 3.5%, with 21% inflation. Bangladesh's exports have reached $52 billion in the 52 years, whereas Pakistan's exports are still at $31.78 billion. Bangladesh's GDP now stands at $411 billion, making it the 33rd largest economy in the world. Clearly, in 2023-24, Bangladesh has outpaced Pakistan in every part of its economy. For example, Bangladesh is one of the world's largest exporters of textiles and garments, with this industry being the backbone of its economy. In fact, Bangladesh has emerged as the best-performing economy in South Asia, particularly in the wake of the pandemic. However, the real question is, will Bangladesh manage to stay ahead, or is it at risk of becoming another Pakistan, a country that's barely a step above Afghanistan? So what is the current situation in Bangladesh? Bangladesh is experiencing major protests over job quota issues and authoritarian policies, the largest unrest since Sheikh Hasina took office in 2008. An interim government, led by the Bangladesh army, is expected with fears that radical Islamist forces could threaten Bangladesh's secular governance. The garment sector, crucial for Bangladesh's economy, is facing disruptions due to the unrest, affecting supply chains and production. Bangladesh's textile sector could see international buyers shift orders to alternatives, potentially benefiting India. How does political instability in Bangladesh affect India? India is losing a key ally in Sheikh Hasina, who played a crucial role in counter-terrorism, border security, and other security matters that are vital for maintaining peace in South Asia and keeping strong bilateral relations. With Hasina gone, India's regional influence and trade ties are under threat. Bangladesh is also a crucial trade and transport corridor for India, linking the northeast with the rest of the country and helping access international markets. Who will capitalize on India's loss of Bangladesh? It's like a high-stakes chess game, with India losing a key ally like Bangladesh. China and Pakistan are the ones who stand to benefit. But it's not just India that should be concerned. This shift is also troubling for the US. Bangladesh's strategic location, at the crossroads of South and Southeast Asia, provides access to important maritime routes. Its position also offers potential influence over regional security dynamics, and countering China's expanding presence in the Indian Ocean. You can bet both eagerly eyeing the opportunity. China, ever the opportunist, is set to swoop in and tighten its grip on Bangladesh. By increasing its influence, China could potentially establish military or naval bases in Bangladesh, a move the US attempted but failed to achieve. As a Muslim-majority country, Bangladesh might place its trust in China, even allow them to set up military or naval bases, but they will never grant the same trust or permission to the US. This is evident from a statement by ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who hinted that a third country might be involved in a plan to divide Bangladesh along religious lines. It means the US is unlikely to gain entry into Bangladesh, while China could, even though it's known as a debt trapper, and it will definitely try to use Bangladesh's strategic location to advance its Belt and Road Initiative. This move would secure critical trade routes, extend China's reach, and counter India's military presence. China could also shift the regional power balance, using its leverage to sway Bangladesh's policies and decisions in its favor, building a bloc of support in international forums. And just like with the Maldives and Pakistan, where China has effectively taken over, even if it's not officially acknowledged, China might exploit Bangladesh, and then leave it in a difficult position. Meanwhile, Pakistan, always eager to stir up trouble, will jump at the chance to exploit Bangladesh's unrest. Its long-standing ambition to expand its terrorist industry could finally come to fruition. Pakistan will seize the opportunity to boost its operations from the east, potentially increasing unrest in northeast India, especially with China's support. This is part of a long-term strategy that Pakistan has pursued since its independence. Pakistan's ISI has been linked with insurgent groups in northeast India. Initially, they supported the Naga leader, and later the Mizo National Front, providing training and arms. Despite India's protests, and even after Bangladesh's independence in 1971, Pakistan continued backing these groups. The ISI has consistently fueled insurgency and anti-India sentiment through groups like Jamaat-e-Islami and Harkat al-Jihad al-Islami, with the Pakistani High Commission in Dhaka playing a key role in coordinating these efforts. And it doesn't stop there. In Manipur, the People's Liberation Army, founded in 1978, is one of the most powerful armed insurgent groups, demanding non-Manipuris leave the state and separate administration. It's also among the 9 Meitei extremist organizations, recently banned by India's Ministry of Home Affairs, under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Northeast insurgent groups have long had strong ties with the ISI, receiving training in weapons and guerrilla warfare in both Pakistan and Bangladesh.